Good afternoon. I call the Board of Selectmen a special meeting for November 12th at 4 p.m. officially to order. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
We have a couple things to go over today. First is the traffic enforcement safety device ordinance, and then to schedule a public hearing and town meeting. Social media policy will be an update. We just met today. We'll go to that in a bit. And then any public comment at that point. And go from there. So, okay. So traffic enforcement. So we've done a bunch more chewing and pulling on this. Talked to Randy DeBella. I apologize to everyone, including the town, for not having this in there. I actually lost it all on Friday. I could not find the ordinance and had to try to piece it together until for some reason it came back up this morning. So I apologize to everyone for not having it in at least by the end of last week, especially to my fellow board members who are pretty steadfast and needing to see this, and as well as everyone else who wants to take a look at this. So I did have a chance to talk to Randy DeBella, our attorney, Thursday and Friday about this. That's why I can't believe I lost it somewhere in that time. Regarding just some of the updates to it, mostly making sure we took out some of the things that were in the original draft, talking about a red signal. We want to make sure that there is no reference to any stoplight, red light traffic violation. There is no red light traffic violation at all in the ordinance. I believe we've gone through it all, taking care of all that, eliminated that, and then updated some of the other material. There was 2 references to that. First was in the 12.2 definition, the last sentence. It had limited by 10 or more miles per hour, or 2 if fails to stop such vehicle and facing a steady red traffic signal. That was removed. So if you do have an old copy, that was changed to stop period, ended the sentence at posted speed limit by 10 or more miles per hour period. So that's in paragraph 12.2 definition. Other changes that we updated with the vendor piece to it that referenced, I think we had somehow drifted over from town of Washington material to us. It had nothing to do with us. So go ahead and read that, the new proposed language. So I'll just read the new proposed language. It's under 12-3 on vendors. It says the town may enter into contracts with vendors for the design, installation, operation, or maintenance, or any combination thereof of ATESD devices. If a vendor designs, installs, operates, or maintains a device, the vendor's fees may not be contingent on the number of citations issued or fines levied or paid pursuant to this ordinance. The vendor solicitation process of employees shall be selected by the Kent for Selectmen in accordance with the town of Kent. Town of Kent policy on request for proposal, which is our policy. The ultimate selection of vendors and awarding of contracts shall be made in consultation with the commander of the Connecticut State Police, Troop L, or their designee, to the extent said consultation is available. All contracts for such devices and directly related ATESD services must be in writing. The approval by the legislative body to permit the first selectman to execute all such contracts shall be granted at the time of the adoption hereof. Extra space in there. Okay. And let me just read the rest of them. Then under the paragraph 4 at the bottom, it says Board of Selectmen. It had an A instead of an E. So I'm like, laws when I think too quickly. The next page, again, it was a correction to the Board of Selectmen under 12-6 enforcement and fine. And under the next page, under enforcement and fine, again, number 5, 12-6, number 5, it says within the town, and somehow stop there, it's supposed to be town of Kent. Within automated traffic enforcement safety devices within the town of Kent. Under 12-8, defenses for appeal. And this the appeal B was taken out and redo. And it said a traffic control device was inoperative, which is observable on the recorded images, which meant that the red light camera, again, that was a red light piece that snuck through, So, that was struck out and it just renumbered all the rest of the defenses. Down to that. And then the next page, 12-12. Or excuse me, again, it says reviewed by town attorney Devan Develop 22 October, updated that to read 8 November based on a conversation I had with him on Friday. Review. So. Yeah, you missed that on chapter 8 traffic enforcement. Should be.
The title of the very
chapter.
first page. It says chapter 8, or should say chapter 12.
Good, thank you. Anybody say anything else? Is there? Any of the other drafts that you've ever looked at or have lost any? Okay,
So I have some questions.
Yes, go ahead.
I have some questions. So about the vendors, in our bid process. Will this require going out, this will require going out to bid, even though I know we've got one?
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
so, because it's over $10,000, right?
Yeah, for the cameras.
So why is, I'm just asking because I want to understand, why is the first selectman given sole discretion to select the bidder?
It's just, I'm acting in conjunction with you guys, in accordance with our bid process.
But it doesn't spell it out in the bid process.
It does spell it out in the bid process, but it says here.
I know, I'm just asking why.
Just so that we can expedite it, get it done. I mean, do we need to go back to have a full board review of the bid process? We could do that.
And the other question I have is, what if you don't get 2 bids? Because I reviewed the bid document, the bid policy today. It says for goods, you should have 2, minimum of 2 bids.
There's one company that's also, I don't know, they've come in for the processing side of it. I would go back out if they also have cameras. The ones that I found don't have cameras, they just want to do processing. We'll try to solicit others. There's supposedly one in Ohio or Illinois that does.
Okay, so it's potentially.
Potentially could have at least 2. Yeah, we're trying to do that. And we're going to reach out to the gentleman that I've been working with for the processing side of it, of cameras. Has worked with other ones out in the Midwest. So we'll see if they're interested. They haven't done any work back east. They're interested in doing the information back east. But we'll do that. And we'll work with Stacy as well, the woman from Track Logics that had given the cameras.
So I know that it doesn't always come back to the board for bids, but I think in this case, it might be a good idea for us to actually decide, to actually review them and decide. I don't know how you feel, Glenn, but I mean.
Yeah, I would love to talk about the bids and chat about it. I mean, but it's.
I don't want to slow down the process.
No,
I was gonna say the same thing. I don't want to slow it down either.
Yeah, it just,
It doesn't have to be a big deal, special meeting, but I wouldn't mind.
I mean, it's basically, we'd have to have a special meeting on the day the bids are due. And then we'd have to open, we'd open them and then hopefully we'd select them right then.
it can do that. It can do that right there. We can go, low bid is normally a bid process says you have too many bids, but it doesn't have to always be a low one, but it could be the one that, we provide the most. And that's hopefully we'll have the background, everything comes in, share with you guys on the companies and so on. So you'd see if there's any differences at all. Mostly it's the, I think of the cost and then the support and so on. That's what I've just seen with this Traffic Logic. So the one we put the cost to, I don't know if there's been any cost change to it. Kind of what I wanted the board finance to go to a 50,000 and then do it within. They went to more specific to the cost of the 2, but I'm sure we can make an adjustment if necessary. But no problem. That was how they did in Washington. We suggested easy to get through. I said, okay, well, that works in conjunction with the board. But we could change that to okay, let's do that. That was saying it's compliant terms version chip. That's wrong.
Just, it would only be just taking out.
Yeah.
They can't, there's
You might commit.
vendor solicitation process. shall be selected by Board of Selectmen in accordance with.
Approval.
Everything else is fine,
Mhm.
because you're still gonna wanna execute the contract and all that.
Approval unless the body should permit the person to execute all such conduct shall be granted by the,
No, it's the vendor solicitation
Right.
process up here.
no, okay, no, I'm sorry. It's like, okay. By the Board of Selectmen,
Mhm.
okay. I can change another date when he, I think that. Okay, the vendor solicitation process employee shall be that selected by the Board of Selectmen in accordance with town and policy request for proposals. Okay. All right.
And just another question, why is the state police commander?
Well, here designate, that's always been
Is
because
that
they're
part
going
of
to
the
be.
legislation?
They
do
get
that?
they get to, yes, they get to look at it if they want to, because our resident trooper will be conducting that, and they have to be certified up through the, for their ability to do the review of all the citations and so on.
In essence, the resident troopers, they're employees.
Well,
Yeah.
because of the uniform, correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're our employee, but they're because of the
Yeah.
uniform, so yeah, we can employ them as we need to and assign them the time to be on the. So, yeah. So thinking today about it too.
And my other question about the bidding process is, what is the time frame of sending this out to bid and how long will it be advertised?
That's as soon as we get the approval from the town, if they want to go forward, then we'll put the bid together right after that. We'll have the bid together by December. Most of the companies said it takes a couple months, so it would be probably minimum, I will say minimum 30-day bid process from in December to January.
Mhm.
And that would still give them March, April, or February, March, April to get it out. They're looking March, April when they hit the nice weather to actually get it installed and so on. And it takes a little bit of time for whatever company that gets it. It'll take them a couple months to, produce them and get them set up in there. So I think if it's meet the time, we do a 30-day, we could do that.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah, for 30 days, I think it'll be fine. We'll do some research on companies that might want to come back east to bid. So.
So who will be I have more questions.
Yep.
Who will be our citation hearing officer?
That's, I just wrote that in there, let's see. That will be our resident trooper and, just updated that.
Yeah, it's under 12.7.
The appeal, yeah. In order to find that in the case of the town, can resident trooper or other authorized individual designated by the board of selectmen in accordance with the code for, then we have to be trained, it could be another resident trooper or another trooper assigned to us for a term period of time like this.
Right.
So we just have to make sure that, they come through the training process with state police, basically, or any other role. So we don't have a constable, Kent or Washington had a constable, so they have to be
Right.
certified as well. But, yeah, that's it.
Okay, another question I have is, what is the actual cost of a violation? Because it's $50, but there's also reference to a $15 processing fee. So it would really be $65.
Yep. We're authorized to say the statute allows us to regain processing administrative costs, processing the citation.
So can people pay via cash or check? They can.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
check or cash.
Except there's reference to only paying online.
There.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't say cash or check, it just says.
And that was one thing I was concerned about. It's like, what if somebody doesn't do online payments like seniors?
So first question, okay.
It doesn't say check. So maybe
Okay, number
12-6-3 right there, we could add, you know, a cash and check payment.
Or is there a way for people what the alternative is?
All right, let's do, all right, let's modify 3 by electronic means. Or in person. Yeah, sure, check. Yeah, and then the forward whole, it would be for electronic processing. Yeah, fine processing would be the final solve. Be much what we do with the bags.
Right. But we do still take cash and checks.
We do,
right?
yeah. Sure.
Okay, that's the.
So, this monthly licensing fee,
Right,
how are we paying that?
that would be paid directly to the company. Or we have to, that's part of the budget within this process that we are allowed to pay for processing. It's under.
So that is a cost.
It's a cost, it's not,
of
yeah, and it says it that way, it's $2,000 is what they charge us. And then with a $15 fee with a processing fee to process stuff per citation, but it's, our only obligation is under that $2,000. And that can come out of, that would be billed, would come out of our fine. You know, when it's not predicated on that, we could have a month of no fines and we'd have to find a way to pay for that. We pay for it out of previous year.
Right.
So, but it wouldn't be predicated that we had to have 10 fines.
So so this is a cost, is this also a cost or is it like an either or thing?
Those are, yeah, that's the, that's what they're advertising on. They produce citations, $6 per warning. Plus on fees, that's what gets to $15, if we just round it up to $15. We don't have to do a warning, we can do a warning without charge. We can do a warning, there's different ways we can do the warning, we can just, at the end of the first month, because first month you cannot do a warning. Part of this,
Right, I gathered that,
Yeah.
the first 30 days.
right, first 30 days, just to explain to everybody who might be listening, the ATESD process, we have to do like a 20-some page form of implementation of this ordinance. So in there, it gets more specific about how we can do warnings and how we can do other things. You know, what streets we put the signs on or the automated traffic cameras on, all that. So there's a lot of specificity to actually how we implement this. That's something that has yet to be done.
So we have to do that before we can even launch the program, we have to tell them what streets.
Oh, yeah, before we can actually put the cameras up, yeah, the cameras have to go on.
Well, what
But-
if we want to move the cameras?
No,
Do we have to
that's the whole
resubmit the
point.
form?
Yeah, we have to either modify the form or in advance, because we're getting 2 cameras, that's what, so far we've gotten, you know, approval for, or, you know, the funding approval. Sort of a draft for, yeah, but we have to lay out exactly where they'd be if they're on Elizabeth Street, if we can designate places where they're gonna be, you can only do it when there's an actual camera there. I did find out it must be 3 years in that place, at one place. So, yeah,
Can't move for 3 years.
Can't move for 3 years. That's why you want to modify it or get a different camera or, I mean, yeah, so. It doesn't mean that the plan has to continue. I mean, we could say after a year and a half that we're not getting any, everybody slowed down and want to pull it, we can pull it.
Oh,
But if we designate a camera space, it has to be that camera space for 3
the plan for 3
plan
years.
for 3,
Got it,
exactly.
got it.
It's be part of the ATESD
Yeah.
plan, implementation plan.
Okay.
Yeah, that was something that I got into Thursday. I called, had a little meeting with these people again. I said, what are we not getting? And then I talked to Jim Britton, the first selectman over Washington, got a copy of his, you know, big plan. I only got through about half of that.
Mhm.
And I did talk to Randy about some of that. There's an implementation piece of that. And that's something only after we actually get the town to agree to do this. And then we have to put it together. But that's an implementation. towns have put in like 4 pages and got a kickback because it wasn't specific enough.
Mhm.
So this is part of how I think the state wants to monitor, make sure we're not going crazy, throwing up speed cameras everywhere else. Remember how, anecdotally, you got a speed camera popping up somewhere and it's never been there before and sign, it fell down or something like that. The state is trying to make sure that doesn't happen, to make this a decent ordinance or a decent statute. So I guess I can understand that.
Yeah. The thing is that I want us to be as prepared as we can be for the hearing and for the meeting.
Exactly.
So when they say, how much is it gonna cost the town? I think we have to be upfront and say, it's gonna cost $2,000, and is it, so it's also gonna cost this, at $11 per citation? But we are hoping that $15 processing fee will
We'll cover that more, or the fine itself at $50 if you come in and pay cash.
Right.
If there's any processing, that they have to, obviously pay for first class postage and everything else. There's a cost to us for that, but that's per ticket. That just takes off the $50. If it's, the processing fee, it would take off the front. The processing fee electronically kind of covers everything because, it's the old credit card costs and things like that to process. During the hearing, so for the hearing, and we'll get to that whenever we're ready. Just let you know that both the traffic logic people with the camera and Brandon with background will be here. Not in town, unfortunately, I'm not sure where they're gonna be, but they will be here to present, make a presentation to the town as well. Yeah, I've asked them to do that, and they've agreed to do that. If we go with the 22nd, they kind of penciled it in until we agree.
Can we see it before they?
Yeah, I've asked them to send it in advance. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll get it. I'm hoping I'll have everything by our meeting. So if nothing else, at least we can see it. It'll be there, but having them explain it all and answer questions specific to this and the implementation. I think the town deserves that. At least before the hearing, before, and then chew on it, and then that's fine. I didn't want to do a hearing and or after I wanted to allow it, but I got to spare.
I think we're gonna get pushback on the money aspect, so I think we have to be prepared. I'm already hearing chatter about that.
The cost of the ticket.
Yeah, the concept, because I've heard complaints that this is seen as another way to tax residents. And I don't think that all three of us haven't talked about it that way. We talk about it as a safety thing. To slow people down.
Exactly.
But I think we have to be upfront about the money aspect so they can understand this is not our goal, this is what will happen, but it's not a money-making endeavor.
It's a tool. We'll keep putting that, and it's very specific in here, even in the ordinance, exactly what this goes to. It doesn't go into salaries, it can't go into the general budget. It has to go towards either maintenance of the traffic program. It could be better better signage. It could be, crosswalk thing. That's one of the things I'd like to do is maybe a lit crosswalk. If you can gain some funding out of that. It's one of the things where you can press a button and have it light up so that, people, especially if we're I think the state has talked about doing that as part of the sidewalk deal. They actually put one from the firehouse over into the Barnes area where the seniors might come across.
I thought it was near Templeton.
What's happening? That's what, same thing. Field right next to it, correct. So,
Glenn and I have both heard about the fact that there's too many people jaywalking.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So a lighted crosswalk, maybe that would encourage people in that dusk nighttime hour to be using the crosswalk.
From the start, this has been a safety issue. Even noise and traffic, living in town, the vast majority of people slow down, there's the crosswalk, I'm always using that. But I was passed the other day on Main Street, completely illegal. I just got angry. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It was if someone were jaywalking.
You were passed when you're in a car?
I was in a car and someone passed me on the left. It was unbelievable. On Main Street. So it does happen.
Yeah.
It does happen.
So what I was wondering, just in terms of trying to get information for the hearing, if we could estimate how many citations we might have in a year, based on the data you already have collected.
And we can get that as part of what these guys are professionals that come back and tell us what they think.
So then if they could then do an estimated revenue based on that, and then if we could say, the things you were just talking about, like, we would like to do X, Y, and Z with that revenue. if, with the revenue that we do collect. So we're preparing, letting the people know right at the hearing. And I think was my big things.
If you email that to me too, so I can make sure
Yeah,
I get that to, people they're gonna get the professionals that give the presentation, then they can look at comparable sized towns, I mean, either in Canada or here, or Illinois, Ohio, Florida, where they.
But I really think if you use the data that you've already got,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and the fact, and the graphics that you put.
They're
Too
amazing.
low res. I couldn't even read them.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, they were tiny. So it would be great to have that information.
Okay.
I
Yeah, we should.
tried to print it out.
That's the graph you'd like?
Yeah, the graphics could not be read.
Oh, you couldn't see what the data was.
You couldn't read
referencing to?
them, Marty. They were too low resolution. That's what it's like. It's just too low.
Okay.
But I think that would be awesome.
Sure,
It'd be
okay.
great to be able to feature our own data in the
Right.
presentation.
Oh, yeah, oh,
We've
absolutely.
collected.
Gotcha. That's how we came up with that.
It's just very small.
Right. All right. We'll make sure that we get that out. So. Okay. Thank you.
That's all. I think this is great. Well, thanks for your questions.
Yeah.
This is very helpful. But I agree. I mean, the more the more information we give to the town, having them speak actually,
Yeah, I think it's important.
that's really good.
Yeah, so they're used to that, they understand the questions, they've heard a lot of this. And
Right.
you can incorporate our data, which is exactly what we talked about the other day, right? Because I said, it would be, you tell me about Illinois or some town in Florida, whatever, that's nice, that you're talking about a comparable, say, income stream, if you get this much traffic, 10,000 cars a week, whatever it might be. Yeah, but, yeah, but and the good question you asked about, or the concern, and I've heard this, another one regarding, would this inhibit people coming to Kent and cause a problem with any of our, vendors, any of our store people or businesses, whatever? I don't think so. It hasn't been this far. Most people that come here for it, they'll come in slow and park, and that's nice. But that's a good question to ask. And I think, again, most of the people who are local that have been through the speed change on the signs in and out of town. This again makes them aware to slow down. But last night I was looking for a picture on my paper app or a picture on my phone. I was walking last night about 8:30 and two cars came up 7 fairly quickly. Red light, didn't stop. And then they made the turn on at 341. And I think they were up at the top of Skip Mountain before I made it to the corner. These were two of them. One was a Volvo station wagon. Oh, that's guys. Station wagon moved pretty quick. I don't know what they were up to, but that's the kind of stuff that we want to stop, and we can work on. So we're not. And again, it's a tool. As we said, it's a tool. I believe it's a safe tool to use. If it proves again that we modify some behavior and protect our town in the middle of town, town because there are people speed through like that guy. Last night, 2 people last night. Then great. It's a good tool to use. If it's no longer useful, then speaks that way.
And the cameras are gonna be pointed in one direction. So if we have 2 cameras, we have to choose it's getting people driving south on Route 7 or it's getting people driving
North and coming, south on, north on.
Not way to do north and south.
No, it's great. They actually differentiate between which way people they're going, and they can actually, with this LiDAR trigger onto the vehicle that actually is speeding, another, say they're passing together. Someone going north, and you're looking north, say the cameras, and someone's coming south, going speeding down south. And I'm quiet, slowly down the whole thing. No, they wouldn't be able to pick that vehicle out. That's the one that triggered the camera, not another camera. So we're not going to mix it up between them. Like someone going 25 and someone going 40. That's supposed to be able to do that. So, it's good. So, okay.
And some people, again, I think I've said this in a previous meeting, people are worried about their information is going to be collected in the town for all time, but here
it's pretty definitive.
we're not collecting data forever. It's just
and it's not on all the time. It triggers only that speed 10 miles an hour as we've designated here, which is threshold for the state. that at 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, somebody goes out, that's what triggers the camera, not.
Some have said that too, so.
Right, on all the time.
Yeah, it's on all the time, but recording, even if I'm going under the speed limit, and I say no, so that's.
Yeah, and again, on that demonstration or the presentation.
Presentation.
We'll have that. Yeah, I think that's good, pretty good graphics. Okay, then, like to get a motion to establish a hearing. We'll hold off on the actual date of the, once we've worked out the actual date. Couldn't come up with the actual date. In December, we have the vote.
Well, do you want to do it on a Friday?
I'd like to, that's why we did the hearing on
Yeah,
Friday.
so that's why I asked about the.
So, but
land
the
trust,
dates
so
are.
What about if we do the sixth, December sixth? That's
You
a
need to check
Friday.
with the register of voters and the town clerk.
Yeah, I'm
before
gonna
you
check with that,
forget to-
the actual date. Let me
Okay.
propose that, the date, because we can establish
But
that.
you should know by the next, regular meeting next week,
Okay.
you can inquire with them, but I hate to schedule something without checking.
Between 19th and, so it has to be taken account any holiday, it has to take into account a weekend.
Yeah,
and
Thanksgiving.
find it, you know, it's the formula in there. But, yeah, so, motion for a public hearing on.
You have to approve the ordinance first,
Oh, approve the, it's not part of it.
as amended.
Do we recommend it to town meeting? Is that the right wording?
You're gonna schedule a hearing first, and then you'll, after the hearing, or at the meeting next week, then you can recommend it to
We
go
get
to
that.
the town meeting.
Okay. So but we can't really approve this ordinance. We can recommend it?
We can approve the.
You can approve it to go, yeah, you can approve it to go to a town meeting,
Town meeting,
I guess.
that's right, I see what you're saying, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so. The motion to approve the ordinance, chapter 12, traffic enforcement safety devices, proposed ordinance to move to a town hearing on the 22nd of November, 2024, at 6 o'clock.
That early?
Me,
We usually do 7.
6 or 7, I thought just earlier. We've been pushing the meetings earlier. So. I do 7.
I think I'd stick with 7.
People may be at dinner, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I mean, I hear you, but I also know that people who might be coming up from the city would probably appreciate that extra hour to get here.
And did I hear as amended?
As amended.
As amended,
So,
Do you making the motion?
that's the motion.
I'll make a second. I'll second that.
okay, do you want to read back the motion? Did you write that? All right. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's great, thank you. Okay, and again, apologize. It was not good, but the piece on the social media policy update, I really, I was thinking we'd be able to get it done, but we've got a few comments that came in. We went through a lot of it today with Joyce and Darlene and myself. We've got comments from Joyce and from a couple of the department heads regarding the processing. So we've decided that we really need to go back and redo it. It's too much. There's too much in here. There's too much trying to describe what to do and or what not to do. But it's just what we want to do. Really, it's just 2 sections, which is to establish the a social media process. And we there's some suggestions for that. And then, you know, the other part is how you make the actual, kind of keeping it closer to what you had said before, of how, who actually makes the social media
Account?
yeah, well, the account is one thing, how we process the account, but then actually who can post and how that works within the departments and correct in the committees and all that kind of stuff. Pretty simple, straightforward. So we're gonna cut this back down to like 1 page. And get out of, you know, definitions and everything else. Over these others. So that's the process. So we'll have that by our next week. 19th, so we'll actually have
Okay.
a policy for that, okay? And we'll have that to you by the end of the week. Or, yeah, we should have by the end of the week. And there. So this is an update on that, sorry, but yeah, there's a lot more we were in for today to it. And I've been talking to Bob and Lee as well.
Oh, good.
You could tell, and a bunch of other stuff, but it's not on
Okay, cool.
the agenda, but you know, we'll have to show that, so. Again, that's apologize for leaving on, so, okay. Anything else on the social media? Okay, we'll get more of that information back. Okay, public comment. Any of our public that is here today wish to comment anything that got on this evening? Nobody there? No hands up. Oh, there he is. There she is. Hi, Dan.
Hi, I just had a comment on the speeding program that you're contemplating or encouraging, approving. Having been the victim of, I'm sorry, there's an echo here. Can you hear me?
Can you mute us?
I'm sort of fundamentally opposed to this kind of ticketing and providing revenue to a town. Having been the victim of a ticket that was applied to a car that my husband and I owned while we were out of the country, and our son loaned our car to a friend who was moving, and the car got the ticket, not the person. We tried to appeal. We had passports that showed we weren't in the country at the time. They said, sorry, it's your car, you pay the ticket. That was very annoying. I remember it vividly to this day. I'm just wondering if there aren't other things that you might consider before this goes into effect. I was driving to New Milford yesterday. There's a detour there when you come in on Meeting House Road because they're restoring a bridge. And so I took the detour route. I was in a hurry. I was driving above the speed limit. There was a sign there that went on that said, you're driving too fast, and red lights flashed, and I immediately slowed down. And I think things like that might be tried before the town spends so much money on this expensive and complicated system that affects people who are car owners, but not necessarily the drivers. If somebody takes your car to run an errand in town, your house guest, your nephew, your whatever, and then sometime later you get a ticket and you don't even remember who was driving, and you weren't driving, but the ticket is applied to the car, not the person. And there's something in my mind that is not really fair about that. It's one thing if I completely agree with the objective of trying to provide a safer town and prevent people from speeding. But the town also gets a reputation in the process. And if, there are people that are on their way up the road to, Sharon or Cornwall or whatever on the weekend to their weekend house, and then, Kent gets known as a town that's making revenue from speeding tickets. That's not so good for the town. So if there's a way that you can slow people down so the safety issues can be addressed without punishing people for trying to get to their weekend home house faster or whatever, I think you should think about that and try other things like this. You're going too fast and red lights, and I immediately put my foot on the brake, and it was very effective. It didn't cost me a ticket. It alerted me that I was driving too fast. So those are just my comments.
Anyone else? Okay, right, now, put the motion for adjournment.
Before we adjourn, can we please see the presentation we with a couple days before the 22nd.
Right.
I mean, I just really would like to see it before in case we can have some kind of input on it.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure.
A little bit after today.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, well, scanning it as a copy. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think that will take that right too. Sure. So, all right, favor? I agree. Thank you. Thank you.